What is up, my friends? I hope you're having a wonderful day today, and I want to welcome you back to the second part in this three-part series where we go over some fundamental piano techniques, things that are really important, and where I answer some pretty specific questions about the process. And in this video, we're going to cover something that I get asked almost every day, which is how do I actually create independence in my hands? Like, how do I actually control the hands in a way that makes it feel comfortable to play hands together very smoothly and very efficiently? So that is a really good question, and we're going to cover that. There's a very simple answer, which I'll share with you in just a minute. But before we do that, I want to, again, offer you my free guide called Playing Piano with Confidence. It's like a 5-step guide to really take you from beginner to intermediate. Once you master those 5 things, they are very, very important in order to be able to play hands together and get yourself up and running. So it's totally free if you want to check that out and reference it for your own practice. I definitely recommend it. And if you want to go super deep with me and kind of learn a step-by-step approach and get a comprehensive instruction on how to play the piano from start to finish and be able to improvise on the spot and just play with ease, then I want to offer you my Piano Skills for Composers and Songwriters course. And it basically goes through the entire process of starting from the very fundamentals, learning basic chords, playing scales, learning how to do fingerings, learning inversions, applying those techniques to pieces, improvising on the spot, ear training, and much, much more. So if you have any questions about that, or if you are interested in taking your skills to the next level in a very serious way, I do want to offer that to you before it closes next Monday. So yeah, I want to dive into the question, which is basically, how do I gain independence in the hands? And the answer is very simple. It's just practice hands separately. Okay, practice hands separately. So the mistake I see a lot of people making is that they will basically take a piece of music, a piece of piano music, for example, and they'll start practicing it both hands right away. And they probably think that's a good idea because you're basically allowing your muscle memory to take over here. And as you learn the hands together, they start to work together, right? And then they both mesh together to create a very like unified type of feeling when the hands are working together. But this is actually not the case because you're basically splitting your brain in half and trying to control both hands at the same time. So your brain only has limited resources to engage with one hand at a time. So the right thing to do is actually to practice one hand until it's very comfortable, and then switch to the other hand and practice that hand until it's very comfortable. And then you basically add them together at the very end after you can do the hands separately in a very comfortable manner. So let me show you an example of how I would approach a piece of music and play them or practice them in a very systematic way. All right, so let's take a look at one piece of music here, just the first line. So you'll notice that we have the treble clef and the bass clef here. The treble clef meaning that the notes are higher, and usually they're going to be played with the right hand, and the left hand plays the bottom staff with the bass clef. Now, you'll notice here in the first bar and the third bar, it looks like the hands are quite synced up together. They're playing notes at the same time, and they're moving in a very parallel way. So the biggest temptation really is to dive in and start playing them together. But if you're a beginner, you actually don't really have that control over your hands yet. So the worst thing you can do is actually start playing them together. What you should be doing is playing one hand at a time and just trying to master that one section at a time until it feels super comfortable. So whether that's just practicing this one bar, like let's say 5 to 10 times in the right hand until it feels comfortable, and then practicing the left hand, or whether that's like doing the first 2 bars, going from here to here 5 times and then doing the left hand 5 times. You have to practice it separate first, so your brain basically gets used to the feeling of one hand being alone and then the other hand being alone. So when it comes together, it's more like teamwork instead of starting together and then breaking the brain in half and being like, okay, now I need you to be able to just play with half a brain for one hand. Doesn't really work that way. So for example, here's the right hand, and I'm just going to play the first 2 bars. Right? And you can do that as many times as you like, but it's really nice because you get a sense of what the melody sounds like on its own without any harmony, first of all, and you're really breaking it down to its core elements. Then after that feels comfortable, you could always do the first 4 bars, right? So that would sound like this. right? So that's basically the first 4 bars there. And then let's say we want to do the left hand. Let's say we want to only do the first 2 bars because we're just starting this and we want to make sure it's nice and comfortable. So it would sound like this. Right? And let's say I'm not really comfortable with this transition from the bass clef up to the treble clef. Well, then I would just practice these first 2 bars multiple times until that feels comfortable, my left hand coming up to meet the right hand. And yeah, that's basically what you would do. You practice in the very small sections, separate hands until it feels comfortable, and then you can combine the hands together in very small sections as well, whether that's 1 bar, 2 bars, or 3 bars, 4 bars. I wouldn't go any more than 4 to 8 bars because the brain can only handle so much new information at once. So the answer to that question of how do I gain independence in the hands? The answer is to practice hands separately. No matter how easy or difficult the piece is, practicing hands separately can only help you because it gains that brain independence in each hand. And I like to use the analogy of like a team project. So if you're starting hands together, then it's almost like you're approaching a project with your friend while neither of you have really done the research, and you're both trying to cram in like the last minute like assignment without having done any research, and it doesn't work really well. Whereas if you practice hands separately, it's like each of you are doing your part in the project, and then when you combine them together, it's like you're working together because you've already done the research, so the process goes a lot smoother that way. Don't worry if that doesn't make sense. That I could have explained that really badly, but the whole idea is just to practice separately to get the idea down first of each hand, and then combining them will be a lot easier that way. So I hope that makes sense, and let me know if you have any questions about that. It's a very simple concept, but one that's overlooked constantly. So to improve really fast at the piano, make sure your hands can do their own thing first before combining them together. There is no rush for this. You can take your time with it, and you should take your time with it because it really is an exercise. You're really exercising your muscles to do the best that they can. So there's no shortcut. You just have to put in the work and really practice, and that's it. So if you want to learn a little bit more about the fundamental techniques that I recommend, I want to offer you again my free guide called Playing with Confidence, and it'll just walk you through the basic things you need to know about playing the piano so you can get started and making music right away. And again, if you want to go super deep and learn my like step-by-step method of how like playing the piano by ear and also improvising, being able to control your hands so that you can play effortlessly and smoothly, I want to give you my Piano Skills for Composers and Songwriters course. Again, it is only open until Monday at the time of this recording. So if you're interested in jumping on in, definitely feel free to check it out and feel free to ask me any questions if you like, and I'm more than happy to answer. So thank you again for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.